Mark, what's your thoughts on that performance against Batley this afternoon?
Disappointed, obviously. Feel like we've missed an opportunity there to kick on after last week's win at Halifax, so we were all bitterly disappointed in that.
What factors of that performance disappoint you the most?
The outcome disappoints me the most. We had a plan, we didn't execute the plan as well as we would have liked to have done, and I thought it was battling by Batley.
When we spoke on Thursday, I asked you a question about the 3-day turnaround. You said that shouldn't be a factor. You thought Bradford were battle-hard and ready to go. Obviously, reflecting now, is that not the case? Or
what 3-day turnaround do you mean?
Batley playing on Good Friday, and then obviously we playing on Bradford playing on the Monday. That extra 3-day.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
No, I still don't think. I still don't think that was a reason to be concerned. We looked energetic enough. We was in the game right until the end, so we didn't drop off the end of the cliff and disappear due to fatigue or anything like that. We've just been our own worst enemies at times. We've come up with some poor penalties that they've just ticked the scoreboard over, and then there's been some penalties that I'm going to have a real good look at and scrutinise and I'll comment on them when I have.
It's a heavy penalty count against the club 13-3 mark. Obviously you've just mentioned, you might not be happy with some of those being awarded, but there were certainly some. I think early in the first half, Josh Johnson running out and just taking a Batley player out. Does that feel like it's a bit of a self-inflicted defeat when you look at those types of penalties which were giving Batley easy points on the board?
Listen, the penalty count is what it is. I'll review each and every one of them as I always do, but some of them were stone cold penalties. Some of them was just absolute brain explosions and people trying to take the game into their own hands, so to speak. But I need to have a real good look at any of them before we think about pointing fingers or anything like that, because at the end of the day, if we're squeaky clean, no matter who's in the middle, they can't give a penalty. So. Is
it disappointing when you contrast to the 4 penalties you conceded at Halifax and then to the 13 this afternoon?
Yeah, it is. And some of them, there's one in the first half where he gives a penalty for a ball steal. It's a clear offload by James Brown, right on our line. And listen, there was some that were penalties, stone cold penalties, and I'll review them and deal with them accordingly. But there was some that on first glance, I'm going to have to look back and fathom out why they were given.
On that first half, Mark, it appeared to take time to get rolling. What do you put that down to? I mean, there's a lot of defence being done on the back of conceding the penalties and the set restarts and a high error count, but obviously when you talk about energy, there's definitely effort there, but perhaps that first half not so much on the energy front.
I'm not going to question the team's effort or energy or enthusiasm. I don't think it was that case. I think it was a really sloppy game. It was stop-start, and it was put the ball over the sideline, lots of scrums. The ruck was slow, particularly. But again, we've got to find a way of dealing with that. If teams are going to come and try and play in that manner, then we can't look at other people and try and solve it that way. We've got to try and solve it by our actions. So that's something we spoke about down there, and then we'll have a look and regroup.
I don't want to make this interview about referees and penalties, but there was an incident where Dec Patton's been sent to the sin bin. He's come together with Adam Gledhill. Incidents placed on report. To my naked eye, both of them were involved in the pushing and shoving. Both should have gone. What's your thoughts on that?
To my naked eye, the initial incident was a headbutt, or certainly a push with the head towards one of our players on the forum, Tom Holmes. You're right, Dec's run in and reacted, and then you can't push and shove yourself, can you? So there's been more than one person involved, and I'm amused at how there's only one person sat down within 10 minutes. But it is what it is, and we have to move on and deal with it.
Is it fair to say, Mark, in moments like that, you'd like more composure from the team in terms of dealing with perceived injustices?
we lacked a little bit of composure throughout. You know, I thought there were a period in the first half there where we had Batley right in the rack, and you know we've come up with with an error and just let them off the hook a little bit. A couple of times, you know, we had them at points of, you know, they're starting to tire, they're starting to look like they can split at any moment, and then we'll come up with an error or a kick out in a full or you know, penalty or whatever. Just key moments. I just thought we lacked that a little bit of composure, a little bit of calmness needed to just build again. When
you look at the stats, 3 tries to their 2, all them penalty goals, does that kind of hurt, you know, the wounds kind of thing, Mark? When you look at it like that,
it hurts because we lost the game, but you know, that's the top and bottom of it. Yeah, we've outscored them 3 tries to 2. I still think, although we weren't good today, I don't think either team were particularly good today. You know, we've outscored them 3 tries to 2 and played some good football in spells, but you know, when you allow them to just tick the scoreboard over with silly, cheap penalties, then you're always going to have to outscore people.
Start the second half, obviously you've had your team talk looking for impact, and then I guess to compound a problem, the ball's going out on the full. That doesn't help, does it?
No, they're the little key areas, and Tom Holmes' kick-offs have been outstanding, you know, for the last month, 6 weeks, whatever. We just got that one wrong and overcooked it a little bit, and you know that's an individual error, and they happen, and the key to that is regrouping and being resilient and dealing with it.
Joe Rundle obviously out for a couple of weeks. First championship start for Jaden Myers. Didn't look out of place at times, making some good meters forward, good defensively.
Yeah, I thought Jaden did well. You know, he did well. You know, he can go on tonight thinking that he's contributing to the team, and you know that's a solid debut on the right centre there. And I'm sure there'll be more from Jaden. You know, is something that we're very proud of, that it's come through our system, and no one off the rank. But you know, it's a shame we couldn't get the victory for him today, and you know, make it a day that I'll remember forever.
Tom Holmes goes over, 90 seconds left. Are you thinking, hang on a second, Hail Mary time, a miracle could happen here?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you know, we've done that before, haven't we? We've scored and gone back to back from deep in our own end, but again, you know, play one, Rob Butler comes up with an error. So I just thought that summed us up. You know, throughout the day, I thought it summed the game up. You know, it was an error in contact with hands on the ball, and you know, we've got to do better.
In terms of the health of the squad, Mark, anyone picked anything up from this afternoon's game?
Yeah, you'll have seen Jordan Bowles went off with an HIA. He passed his test, but then when the doctors had a look at half time at the video, you know, he's deemed that the symptoms that was displayed at the onset of the incident means that he's withdrawn him at half time and he's got to go off the field, so he's finished with HIA.
That automatically rules him out for Halifax on Saturday.
Does it?
I guess, does that put any pressure on you in terms of the forward department, or in terms of players back, or?
Puts pressure on everybody. You know, we can only do what we do. We can only play the players we've got, and you know, it creates an opportunity for somebody else, doesn't it? So you know, there's no point crying about it. There's no point, you know, looking for excuses and things like that. We've got what we've got in the building. There'll be no lone players and dual edge players next week. We've got players returning from suspension next week that will come back in, and players returning from injury next week that should be okay to play. But you know, we're doing it tough at the moment, but so is everybody else. You know, it's a tough game, and we'll get on with it and we'll deal with it best we can. It's
the third time now this season, Mark, where there's been a couple of wins and then a defeat. Is it frustrating? Does that kind of get highlighted a little bit that you can't put that consistent run together?
Yeah, that's what everybody's good, you know, striving for, is consistency. I'm content with the fact that it wasn't a poor performance on large. It wasn't great from, like I said, from both sides. I don't think, you know, we was poor and they was great, or vice versa. But you know, I just think it was a sloppy game, and we didn't execute as well as we could have. You know, we had a plan that should and could have, you know, managed us to get 2 points from that, but we just didn't execute well enough.
How much work do you reckon there is to do now between now and obviously preparing for that big game on Saturday this year?
There's no more work than there would have been if we'd won the game. We've got to regroup. We've got to put our arms around each other. We've got to be honest with each other when we review it, as we always do, and then we've got to get ready for what's probably one of the biggest games that the club's had for a long time. So just spoke down there about that. It's almost an opportunity, isn't it, that when there's a little bit of adversity, then the opportunity arises that we've got next week to put it right, and it just so happens it's a huge game for the club.
You've spoken proud about the home record. What was the dressing room like at the end? Obviously, the realisation the 6 from 6 is now 6 from 7.
Disappointed me, but we was never going to go the season unbeaten. We're looking at progression. We look at building. We're building. We're getting better. We've built on last year. We'll keep building, and the end goal is the end goal. So, we're losing the home records and things like that. They all sound lovely, but it is what it is. We've lost a game at home. The really, really important thing is that's gone now. I will dissect it, and the players will all get their individual clips, and we'll look through them and things like that. But the next opportunity is Halifax away, and that's what we're focused.
And obviously, Jack Walker being in the 18, how close is he now to, you think, being ready to play?
He's very close, yeah. He's very close.
You tempted today, or is it the case of?
Listen, there's a couple of areas with Jack, so we had just a couple more boxes that we needed to tick, and particularly the medical staff was really conscious on, we've already shaved a chunk of time off of Jack's renewal. So there was a couple of boxes that they just wanted to tick just a bit extra careful and extra sure. And I think we've also got to respect the fact that I think that Jack Walker's probably up there with the best fullbacks in this comp. I also think that Tom Holmes has been up there with the best fullbacks in this comp since he stood in that position. So nobody at this club's guaranteed anything. It's about being patient and then right. And, Jack Walker is an outstanding rugby league player, but Tom Holmes has been outstanding as well. And there's almost a case of he's in possession of the shirt and somebody's going to take it off him.
In terms of Jack as a player, is he one of these who's sort of desperately trying to collar you every day, saying I'm ready, or is he quite happy to sort of accept the process? And
a mixture of both. Simon has been chomping at the bit for 3 or 4 weeks now. But then when you sit down and discuss it with him and give him the realisation of where he's at and what he's been through, he's not an unintelligent man either. So he sees the need to go steady. We've done everything really diligently to make sure that Jack's right when he comes back. And it's the only thing that we could do. We have had to shield him from himself at times, but he's very, very close now to being back at home.
The fact there's so much of the season still ahead of you, I suppose it's one of those, you sort of sell it to him, don't you, sort of saying, well, if you're trying to push yourself back now, just wait till we think you're ready, and you've got all that ahead of you.
Absolutely, yeah. And, there's an end goal, there's a bigger picture than the last few weeks. And it was all down in the dumps when Jack got injured and Bruno got injured. But to do what we've done and be as competitive as we've been with some of our most experienced players out is a real shot in the arm to us. Will we be better when we get them back? Absolutely we will.
You mentioned
but we've just got to be as patient as we can be to get to the end point where it's right for them to return.
You mentioned players coming back. Walker is obviously in the frame as one of those. Who else are you in position to say is on the register?
Chester Butler should be fine for next week. He should return. Fenton Rogers, that was his last of his 2-game ban today. And he's played in the cup previously, so he'll be available for selection as well.
And Michael Lawrence and Joe Arundel, how far are they?
No, they won't be ready for next week.
No. What's the problem with both of them?
Michael Lawrence tore his hamstring at Featherstone away, and Joe Arundel's got a hamstring strain. It's not a tear, it's a strain, but yeah.
Any chance of Jack Bibby playing on Saturday night?
At this moment, no. We'll ask the question again this week, but as it stands.
You mentioned Thursday, Mark, about potentially irons in the fire. Are you hopeful some of those come out hot ahead of Saturday?
Very hopeful, very hopeful. You know, we'll carry on working as hard as we can. Believe me. You know, there's a lot of hard work going on behind the scenes. There's a lot of phone calls, a lot of meetings, trying to identify the right person, and then get the club in question throughout. To be in a position where they want to do a deal. We're working really hard and we're really close on some news, but we'll just have to see if we can get that over the line in the next couple of days.